What up, Nation? NFL Week 7. CK. Find me on Twitter at CK_013. We've got another NFL slate to discuss. Still haven't had that year. I haven't had that big hit. 7 weeks in. I'm not panicking, man. I mean, I think like last year it was like dead middle of the season. The year before that it was like towards the end. But I'm itching for it. I'd like it. I'd love it. Right. Yeah. So let's get it. Let's make it this week. How about that? If you are new to the channel, welcome. Please subscribe. Hit the notifications bell. Don't miss out on any of the free content we put out. Make sure you hit the like button. Appreciate it, you guys. Hit the like button. Keep us rolling. And if you want more after this show, if you want more content, my core plays article, projections, cheat sheets, and all that, you can find it at WiseTake.com on a cheat sheet. Anyway, we'll go ahead and get started with quarterbacks. Lamar Jackson to Cleveland, I'm fine with. Patty Mahomes, San Francisco, I'm fine with all these. Obviously, Herbert's the one that's going to stand out the most. Right? Coming off a terrible game against Denver. Terrible game as in, like, the game was terrible. I mean, 37 for 57, threw the ball a lot. Threw the ball 57 times, only got 238 yards. There was a home game. It was also this is a boring game. Hasn't, like, Kansas City did all right? 27's acceptable, but hasn't really pop, right? Seattle is the perfect opportunity, I think, for him to get to that level to actually pop for the season. This might be the best matchup he will have seen all season. Seattle's been just a gold mine. Even Arizona, I went a little heavy on that game. I think that Arizona, if they had D-Hop, would have been more successful. You really see the difference that a guy like D-Hop makes in that team for a quarterback that, in my opinion, is not that good in Kyler Murray. D-Hop is kind of everything. So, anyway, point being, phenomenal spot for Herbie. Little get-right spot to at home. Seattle's offense has been good enough to hang, and the defense has been horrendous. Similar to that of the Cowboys, like 3 years ago, if you remember, like, they were like, until Dak got hurt, every Cowboy game was just money. Because the Cowboys' offense was really good. They were putting up points, and then the defense was terrible. Obviously not the case anymore. Now the defense is pretty damn good. But anyway, Herbie, he's the standout. I expect him to get a lot of love, though. He's definitely the standout. Wasn't trying to blow off Jackson and Mahomes. I just think it's like always the standard. Like, you can always play those guys. Just to be clear about that. Thorough Joe Burrow ended up having a pretty damn good game against New Orleans in the Dome. New Orleans' whole secondary was basically out. He took full advantage. He's at home against Atlanta this time around. There's some, I think it's alright, you know? I think it's alright. Get this up right. Oh, Rayla's in the room. Let's see where Atlanta even ranks in this. Atlanta 23rd against the pass, 25th against the run. Yeah. Wig. What's up, Wig? They could be. That's definitely true. They could definitely be bothering him. But I think, like, if he's playing, I just think it's going to be a different type of matchup. Like, the Broncos, they still got some dudes on defense, right? I just don't think Seattle has that. So I definitely think his ribs are bothering him, for sure. But I mean, the man, he did throw the ball 57 times. Granted, he wasn't successful, but he did throw the ball 57 times. That tells me that he's good enough to make throws, right? It's not like, remember that kicker recently got hurt and he was like falling every time he kicked? Like, he's probably gonna miss some time after that. But I don't know. Point being, it's a great point, but I do think he'll end up being all right. Dak is kind of interesting, man. It's his first game back, but yeah, I don't know. It's his first game back, but Detroit, another one of those teams, bad defense, good offense. This could be an interesting spot for Dak. You know, 6-7 for him. If this was mid-season form, I think people would be all over Dak. it's the fact that it's not midseason form. I think that makes people hesitant. But I think he's definitely a standout to me, a guy at least that you want to make a decision on. Aaron Rodgers against Washington. Rodgers' games have been terrible. But I don't know. I feel like Washington could end up being an interesting team. They're a pass funnel team. Washington is 5th against the run, DVOA, 19th against the pass. Rodgers coming off, this whole team coming off really, what would you call that? A heaping pile of shit, I guess we can call it. But the volume has been there. 41 passes against the Jets, 39 against the Giants, 35 against New England. So I think Rodgers at 6K, like if we're going cheap, we're talking about Jared Goff, T-Law, Tannehill, Geno, like in this range. Yeah, I'll take a shot on a guy like Aaron Rodgers now here. You know what I mean? I'll do it. I'm game. On the running back, C-Mac, man, for San Francisco, they made the switch. Up in the airfield play. This is, I mean, the Niners are going to run the ball so damn well. Between him, Debo, I mean, it's about to be crazy. And then obviously both guys can catch passes. Like, that's pretty much becoming like a two-man team. Little highlights by Kittle, highlights by... Don't get me wrong, I think Kittle's role... I think Kittle will be all right. I think Kittle kind of play the feature roles, but the backup roles. But I think this is going to be the C-Back and Debo show, I think, is this. Against, I mean, I just want to know if he does play, how much is he going to play? Are they going to just do it and just let him go? Because I'm okay, Ian Rappaport, maybe in red zone packages. Oh, that's rough because this is the game you want him for too, right? Kansas City, like, I don't know. Eckler, strong play this week. Very expensive, especially on FanDuel. FanDuel is like 9,400 or something like that. 10 targets against Denver. That does kind of play. Excuse me. That does kind of play a little bit into the injury thing. Maybe a lot of checkdowns because if you look at his targets in the past, other than Kansas City, they weren't that high. But again, it's the matchup, man. Run, pass doesn't matter. So I'll play Eckler with Herbert, no problem. I got no problem doing that. Derrick Henry, 8,200. Price is low. He's had 3 good games. It's coming to a point where these guys are starting to get lower and lower and lower because the mid-range and value guys have performed so well that hasn't been as much of a gap between the top guys and the bottom guys. So we're starting to see these guys come down. I mean, Taylor's 8,100, Henry's 8,200, Nick Chubb's 8K. It's pretty tight. Even Saquon's 7.9. Like there is no 9K. Like, you know, most expensive dude is 8,400. We don't know how much he's gonna play. But Josh Jacobs, 6,500, guy worth highlighting. He's just been on a mission. Look what he did against Denver. 28 carries, 144 yards, 6 targets. 2 games in a row posting over 30. And now he's playing Houston, a team that is known for being terrible against the run. Definitely a guy that stood out. Breece Hall has been doing dirty doing. 17, 18, 20. He's getting it. We just saw what Jacobs did to Denver. Breece Hall definitely a standout. And this is kind of the range that every week it seems like we find ourselves in. So at a certain point, it's going to catch up. At a certain point, you'll start to see things balance out, and like those top guys are gonna eventually go nuts. They're going for 40s, and these mid tier to low tier guys are gonna struggle. It's gonna happen at some point. Brian Robinson at 5.5, obviously no targets, that sucks. But 17 carries against Green Bay, a team that just got lit up by Breece Hall last week. Kenneth Walker Jr., 21 carries, that was very promising. I mean, they're just missing everybody right now, man. You know, they're just missing their people. So. That was good to see. 3 targets shows that they will pass to him if they have to. We talked about liking that game. Could be a potential bring back in that game. I think in some of the stacks we like. So there's some guys. If I'm missing anybody, chat, let me know. You know what I mean? You got that Algalier and some of these dudes, of course, but it was really like the mid tier and then the guys above. But like I said, I highlighted Josh Jacobs, for example. I think I had a note or two. Right? Yeah. Nah. We already went over it. All right, let's go to wide receivers. Bang. Let's go with Herbie then. That's right, Wig. All right. As far as wide receivers go, Devontae Adams, 7 targets in Kansas City. That's not cutting it. It's crazy though. Josh Jacobs 6,500, Adams 8,700. Raiders are actually kind of becoming a little expensive, where it seemed that you're not thinking is putting a lot of fantasy points up. Great bounce back spot for Adams. Debo, is C-Mac coming going to help or hurt Debo? That is a question. His rush attempts haven't been too crazy since week 1, so I don't think there's a ton of effect there. But will it affect the targets? If Jimmy G has a guy like C-Mac to check down to, I mean, that can affect Debo's carries. These are all phenomenal questions. Mike Williams, let's take a look. Coming off a stinker against Denver. That is a lot, to me. Keenan Allen has a lot to do with how much I would want to play. If Keenan Allen plays, I'm gonna say high hopes. I don't know if he plays. Is that good or bad for Mike Williams? You would think it's good in that it would take some pressure away from him with him, but obviously it's going to be bad for the fact that the targets, right? There's just more target guys to compete with. You can see against Houston, 11 targets, Cleveland 13, 10 against. It's just sporadic. So I think where he's priced to be in a role without Keenan Allen there. So if Keenan Allen is out, then I think it's priced okay for tournaments. If Keenan Allen is in, then I think he's kind of overpriced. That's kind of how I'm interpreting that one. Tyler Lockett's questionable. Kind of sucked last in week 6. Kind of sucked. 5 targets, 2 receptions. Awful. Before that, pretty damn consistent. The last time he had a bad game, he bounced back with a 22. If he plays, and looks like a really good chance to play, I'm good. I'm good going right back. I'm chasing Seahawks games, man. And maybe it's too late. I don't know. But yeah, going it. Let's keep rocking. Man, look at all these injuries. Elijah Moore. Oh boy. Good one. I mean, we can sit here and talk about all these guys, but again, you know how I am with the stacks, right? It's going to go, a lot of it for me is going to go to stacks. I do think there's some interesting plays. Like, the game sucks. So, like, Elijah Moore is going to be out. So, maybe Davis gets more run. Maybe Garrett Wilson gets more run. Or maybe this team's just not having to throw a ton because their defense has played well. But Denzel Mims, if you wanted to get real freaky, I would assume that he's been practicing basically in Elijah Moore's role. So he's the one that's expected to kind of step in and get that opportunity. He asked us for a trade. Now Elijah Moore's asking for a trade. He's in his role. So he's 3K. Elijah Moore has not gotten any love, has not gotten any targets or anything like that. So, oh, wait, Josh Palmer's out? I didn't even realize Josh Palmer was out. Bro, if Keenan Allen and Josh Palmer are out, definitely playing Mike. Everything I said, bro. That happens. I didn't even realize Palmer was up. If Keenan Allen's in, that's basically Josh Palmer's role. Just saying. I'm just saying. That's interesting. But yeah, so this Mims, right? If you really are really hard off of value. Other than that, if you look at the price, you go back to Zay Jones and these guys, you know, it came back down to earth a little bit. But yeah, if you look around, it's not a ton. You know who I do like actually? At 5-1, I like Gallup. Dak is back. He should have this, you know, he should have the, I mean, he's back. But now he hasn't played with Dak yet this season, is my point. So yeah, I think Gallup at 5-1 is a very interesting play. I talked about liking that game. Detroit, another good defense to attack. CeeDee Lamb is obviously fine too. But I think I'm finding that for me personally on these Bills, I'm having a hard time, like, I'm looking more balanced, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I'm having a hard time not spending at least a little bit at running back, which is making it hard for me to play at receiver. So it's kind of, the pricing is pushing me towards the old way at this point, you know what I mean? But Michael Gallup was definitely a standout at the position. I think Curtis Samuel could be a nice little bring back if you do play Rodgers. And then obviously we've got Romeo Doubs, 5K, 9 targets last week. Again, I just expect to be more successful in this environment. Tight ends. Kelsey's AK. Darren Waller's out. So you know you're going to get the value. People are going to run to this dude for value. Foster Moreau. I mean, he's cheap, man. Good. Houston, everything against Houston is a good matchup. I'm fine with it. But Kelsey at AK, I don't think Kelsey will get a ton of action. And the ceiling's tremendous, but I don't think he's got a ton of action. Mark Andrews probably getting more action than Kelsey because he's been posting similar scores and he's cheaper. Kittle, man, not getting no love. How does this affect him? He finally had a 10-target game. Now McCaffrey's coming. Wild. But no surprise. No surprise. The one that I like for the price, Gerald Everett. Seattle's still one of the worst teams in the league against the tight end position. Everett has 7 targets, especially, bro, if we get Keenan Allen and Palmer out, then regardless of what I do with Herbie, I will play a ton of Gerald Everett because we've seen that Herbie will use him. 10 targets against KC. Again, Denver, 7 targets more recently, and the matchup happens to be phenomenal for him. So I do like Gerald Everett a lot. So that's it, man. It's just a few guys standing out to me so far. My article will be ready either Saturday night or Sunday morning. So be on the lookout for that if you subscribe to WiseTake.com. But there's definitely some standout plays. It's just going to be a matter of how we fill that in. How do I connect the dots? And, so we'll see what happens through the ups and downs of the weekend. And what other news comes out. But I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me as always. Hit the like button on your way out if you haven't already. I'm going to get up out of here. And I will talk to y'all next week.